Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Raghuji, will you do the Dhyana shlokas?
पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीमष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थाम विकर्ण घोर मकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तक केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलम् गन्धोत्कटम् नानाख्यानककेसरम् हरिकथा सम्बोधना बोधितम् लोके सज्जन षट्पदैर्हरः पेपीयमानम् मुदा भूयात् भारत पंकजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं अंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदः क्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः।
So, why do we study scripture? Let us start with that question. Why do we need to study scripture? Why are we spending so much time in studying Bhagavad Geeta, Brahma Sutra, Aparokshanuviti, Saundarya Lahari? Why are we studying scripture? Any ideas, any thoughts? Yes, please.
I have seen this continuous study over the years. This has gone into the sinews. Maybe I will not be able to recite any particular shloka, etc., maybe identify anything, but the essence has gone into the lifeblood, because many times, for example, I was undergoing a root canal just a couple of days ago, and sitting there, I had pain, and the doctor asked me that, well, it is touching the root, let me give an injection. I was wondering, why do I need an injection? I am not the tooth. So why that me wants the injection? Who is that person who said you? I think once you were telling, if I recall, that someone said that no, you extract my tooth without giving the injection. And doctor was not willing, And finally, he gave in, and then he did it without the thing. Now, all this, this kind of questioning comes into the mind. Even, somebody
So,
has.
on a lighter note,
Yeah.
did you or did you not take the injection?
I took the injection. No, I could not withstand that. I could not withstand that. I took the injection. So what I'm saying that these kind of questions keep on coming to the mind and try to find an answer. And even in the daily transactions of life, also many times feel perturbed. Then immediately we discuss that why we are getting perturbed, why not we dissociate ourselves with this, why are you getting attached? So, like simple things like attachment, etc., expectations. I'm not going to any other thing like Brahma Sutra and all. I'm restricting myself to Bhagavad Gita. And I think that's the kind of help I'm getting, both of us. Maybe it will take
now. We are aware now.
aware now, and it will take many more births. That's no doubt about it. I'm not expecting to anything miracle to happen in this birth, but maybe a beginning.
Okay, Raghuji.
So, yeah. See, while our scriptures themselves say that the scriptures are not a necessity for spiritual growth. I mean, Dhrtarashtra, without any teachers, without going through any
No, you
scriptures,
don't have to go to Dhrtarashtra. We have Ramana Maharshi. You don't have to go so far.
Exactly. Okay. However, it's easier to climb the hill when you're standing on the shoulders of a giant. And the scriptures are those documents where these giants of our day, of yesterdays, have put down great truths. So, well, they have themselves done a lot of tapas to glean and understand those truths, and they put it down. For us, it is a chance to learn from that in a much easier way. At the end of the day, without the manan, you're not going to go get to the next step. But the fact is, if you have a forest full of trees, you don't know which one has got the fruit. Which tree do you bark under? Well, the scriptures are the trees that are before already told that these have the fruits. So you go here and do your effort on this, you will get the benefit.
So basically, if you look at the study of scripture, the study of scripture has to be divided in two parts. One is on conducting oneself in this world while on a spiritual path. So, I am in a spiritual path, so I don't accept the existence of Parthuda. Won't work. Right? I know that is my goal. That Parthuda and I are the same, Raghu and I are the same, this computer and I are the same. That is my goal. But I'm not there. So, what is the way in which I conduct myself? For that, the scriptures are necessary. Why? Because the scriptures, whether it is through the Puranic stories, whether it is through the Itihasis, whether it is through the Upanishads, they tell us about what is called the Shad Sampat. Anybody remembers Shad Sampat?
Sama, Dama, Titiksha,
Uparati. Very good.
Shraddha, and Mumukshatva.
No. Samadhana.
Samadhana. Sorry.
And so this is what you get when you study scripture. Right? So the first step is Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, Samadhana, etc. Right? Even in the Bhagavad Gita, what does he say? He says, Nistraigunya Titikshasva Bhava Arjuna. Right? In chapter 2 itself, he told. Nistraigunya, go beyond the three gunas, which is the spiritual part, and Titikshasva is the material part. Learn to be tolerant. Learn to be empathetic. Learn to be understanding. So then the next part, Viveka, Vairagya, and Mumukshatva. The three other aspects of how do we conduct ourselves. This is as far as the material world is concerned. So without studying the scripture, you do not know how does the Rishi conduct himself in the material world while on the spiritual path. I keep saying this. You don't have to study scripture. Read the lives of realized masters. See how they behaved. See what they did. And most of that, what happens is the biography or the autobiography stops at the end of sadhana. Sadhana was over. The whole period of sadhana is glorified, and a lot of effort that went into it is shown to us, and the story ends. But it is after that that their actual life began. Which is why I always say reading about Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa or reading about Ramana Maharshi gives us much better ideas. राजभूषण जी, आप kindly mute कर लीजिए. So now what happens is, when we study why Ramana Maharshi and why Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa, because they lived a long life, I mean post realization, and they had people around them who have documented things that were happening as they were happening. Days with Ramana, day by day with Bhagavan, Sri Ramakrishna Kathamrita, all these are day by day incidents, and that is why it is important to read these. Then how does a spiritual seeker existing in the material world continue to exist and continue to conduct himself. Now comes the second part. How does the scripture help us to achieve realization? It does not. Very categorically, Gurudev himself says, oh, by studying the Bible, by studying the Quran, and by studying the Bhagavad Gita, are you going to get realization? No, you are not. These are indicators to the truth. They are not the truth. Right? In Brahma Sutra, we had seen that even the Vedas have been classified as avidya by Bhagavan Shankaracharya himself. So when you look at what is the indicator, how do we understand an indicator unless we do Manan? And all this was just to bring it to this point. How much time are you spending on Manan? I'm not criticizing, not blaming. I'm asking us to ask ourselves. That picking up the Bhagavad Gita, reciting, Gurudev always used to say, recitation is important because it is for children. They need to go, they need to recite. It gives them three things. Number one, clarity of the tongue. Because Sanskrit uses all the possibilities of wherever the tongue is supposed to go, all the positions of the tongue. Right cheek, left cheek, upper, lower, teeth, back of the mouth, everywhere the tongue will go if you are ready to pronounce properly. So, clarity of the way in which you speak. 2, memory. And 3, concentration. Now, these are functions that are required for a child. At your and my age, today, we can't go back to learning how to pronounce certain words clearly. That's the way we have already developed. What is important for us is, are we doing Manan? Are we sitting down and just contemplating that particular verse and saying, how does this indicate either how do I behave or how do I go? So, I mean, Gurudev used to always say this, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? What do I need to do? And his answer was very simple. Shut up and get out. And people would get very upset, because he had a roaring voice. Hey, get out. And this man would go to, now, what do I do? Should I leave this place? What he does not understand is what is Gurudev saying. Shut your mind and get out of that concept that you are the body, mind, intellect. But to do that, you need to shut this and sit. So again, coming back to this point, that Manan, which is where actually Sri Krishna is stopped at verse number 15. If you look up verse number 16. Verse number 16. Abrahma bhuvana lokaha. Abrahma bhuvana lokaha. Punaravartino Arjuna. Punaravartino Arjuna. Abrahma bhuvana lokaha. Punaravartino Arjuna. Mamupetya tu kaunteya. Mamupetya tu kaunteya. Punarjanma na vidyate. Punarjanma na vidyate. Mamupetya tu kaunteya. Punarjanma na vidyate. Abrahma bhuvana lokaha. Punaravartinorjuna mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate Brahma bhuvanat, up to the abode of Brahma. Now, in the Dvaita way of thinking, there are lokas above Brahma Loka. So, in the Advaitic way of thinking, it is actually irrelevant. Brahma Loka is a method of describing different planes of existence. It's only an indication. All the planes of existence to the highest plane. That is what it means. When we say Sahasra Shircha Purushaha, does it mean he actually had 1,000 heads? So, does it mean that he had only 1,000 heads? It could be that he had more heads also. 1,000 is an indicator. And if 1,000 heads was the only indicator, that Sahasra Shircha Purushaha, Sahasraksha, Sahasrapat, only one eye per head. Right? So obviously, Sahasra is not an indication of an exact number. Similarly here, Brahma Bhuvanat does not mean that, up to Brahma only. The Advaitic view here is, it is an indication of all the planes of existence. The Dvaitic view here is very different. And I'm pointing this out because we need to understand. The Dvaitic view basically says, what is moksha in Dvaita? See, moksha, we talk of sarupya, having the same form. Samipya, being close to. Right? Sarshti, having the same powers as. Salokya, living in the same place as. And Sayujya, merging into. Now, the Dvaitic view of thinking does not accept Sayujya as mukti. There is no Sayujya. There is no merger. You come up to Salokya. So you start with Salokya, you take the same form, you then become, you have the same powers, right? You speak like him, like the divine, and so on and so forth. So it is like you are married for 40 years, right, Partada? You are married for 40 years. So you look similar, you behave similarly, right? You talk similarly, you have the same powers, but you are not the same. Right? Bodhi is always more powerful. So that rule will always apply. That is the Dvaitic view. The Advaitic view says that all this Salokya, Sarupya is all useless. There is no Sayujya Mukti. You are free right now. You are free right now. So therefore, everything from here, Brahma Bhuvana Lokaha, all the planes of existence will ultimately be subject to Punaravarti. Punah Avarti. Puna Avarti means to be coming back. To be coming back again and again, rebirth, coming back to rebirth. Mamupetya tu kaunteya. If you have attained me, upetya, having attained me, mama, to, if you have attained, but if you have attained me, tu mamupetya, punarjanma na vidyate. Now, how does that even happen? Because as we keep shedding, yes, we'll come back to you. So as we keep shedding, what is happening? You are transforming. And in that process of transformation, the whole cycle gets broken. Right? Yes, Raghuji, your observation.
Yeah. So this is the part that always gets me a little. You see, I can understand why the Rishis, and I'm now convinced that all the divine souls, Krishna and Rama and all, were also just humans who had reached the realization. So they all say this, that you get mukti, you're released, but you don't exist. The moment you get mukti, you don't exist. Actually, the fact is, rest of creation continues. It is the creation that's been created by Brahma, and it continues. You as a person do not exist, so what happens to you is irrelevant. So to me, I can understand, in order to motivate people who still think of themselves as different and therefore associated with body, mind, intellect, and not the soul, to motivate them to move towards the soul. They say, yeah, you will get free, you will get free, you will get free. But in reality, like Adishakara says, you are already free.
Correct. But
And you don't
you
even
see,
have mukti. Even mukti is not for you.
He says that in Nirvana Shatakam also, no?
Yeah, that's what he
I am
says.
not mukti also. I am not mukti also. Because how can I become free when I am already free?
Exactly.
Right? Absolutely true. That is knowledge. It is not realization. They are two different things. I know that I will die. Do I realize that? Do I behave as if I know that today is my last day on earth? Do I drop my balance sheet at the end of today and say my balance sheet is tallied? No. We all have plans, great plans for tomorrow. Right? And we all the time are living in our past. Why? Because time, which is completely irrelevant, has become relevant to us because we have made it relevant. Akshara, that which does not change, right? Akala, Ajanma, these are descriptions to the Atman. It was never born. It kutastha. It remains in the anvil. Like the anvil, it does not change. All change happens upon it. But all these are only indicative words. And which is why I said that this particular verse is a verse for Manan. Mamupetya. When you come to me, you will not come back. What does that actually mean? What does not coming back actually mean? It means that you realize that you never went anywhere. You are here now, free. But you know how we are? We are like Indra. So Indra once said, my house is too small. So let us do some renovation. Right? A lot of us do that, right? So we are all Indras in our own small palaces. Indra has a larger palace. So we called upon Vishwakarma. Now, unfortunately, he is also like us. When the kitchen is made, he says, no, I think we should have one more platform. The alcove for the fridge is a little small. I need a little bigger alcove, and so on and so forth. The extension plan keeps on happening. So now, what happened is, Vishwakarma got tired. He said, like all architects who are working with us, he will say, band karo, give me a final plan. Indra is the boss. So how do you go and tell him that? So this chap went around looking for somebody and said, okay, let me find somebody who can go and talk to Indra. So he found one Rishi. His name was Rishi Lomasha. Right? Lomasha, the word Lomasha means that he was hairy. Right? He was a hairy Rishi. He had hair all over his body. So he went to Rishi Lomasha, and Rishi said, okay, I will come to Indra and I will explain. So came there. Indra looked at Rishi Lomasha and said, you are covered with hair all over your body, except near your center of the chest, there is one small patch of hairless skin. What is that? So Rishi Lomasha said, no, first let us discuss this extension plan. Then we will discuss this patch. How long do you think this extension plan will go on? So he said, for a few more years. And then what will happen? So then I will live here and enjoy myself. Okay, so how long? I am Indra. Yeah, you are Indra, I understand. You see, this patch here, every time one Indra dies, one hair falls down. So a few Indras have fallen, and that is why one small patch is there. So many Indras have to fall before Pralaya has to come. Huh? You didn't know there were other Indras? So he said, no. So wait. So then suddenly Indra saw some ants. Yeah, where did these ants come from? Call the pest killers. Call PCI, Pest Control India. No, wait. These ants are all former Indras. They have called them here just to meet you. You are trapped in this cycle of being born again, and you will start again from an ant, and sometime you will become an Indra, and you will keep doing this. What are you extending this house for? You see, so then the Indra said, where do you live? So Rishi Lomasha, he pulled out from his back one reed mat, Kusha Darbhasan. He pulled out one large Darbhasan, very nicely woven. He said, see this, I put it on my head when I am walking. It protects me from rain and sun. And then in the night, I go under a dense tree, I put it on the floor and I sleep. So my disciples all come after me and say, Gurudev, can we construct a small shed for you? Then why life itself is temporary? Why do you want to create one more temporary shed on your head? Now, Lomasha Rishi, for whom life is so long that he can see so many Indras coming and going, has realized the temporariness of life. And we live in immortality. That is why we have to attain freedom. That attainment is because we are not there. Because today you are not free. Today you are trapped within the body, mind, intellect construct that you have created around yourself. When I say you, I'm talking of myself also. Same. We're all on the same boat. So therefore, those words used by the Rishis are always, but when Gurudev explains it, he always says that. And like Parthoda was saying, I don't know which life, this life, now, right now. Always Gurudev used to say. What are you waiting for? Somebody has to come and untie you. You only can untie yourself. We are like that donkey, no? Who cannot be freed unless that man will come and open that imaginary rope. So let us move on. Next shloka. Verse number 17. Sahasrayuga paryantam aharyad brahmano viduho sahasrayuga paryantam aharyad brahmano viduho ratrim yuga sahasrantam teho ratra vido janaha ratrim yuga sahasrantam teho ratra vido janaha sahasrayuga paryantam aharyad brahmano viduho ratrim yuga sahasrantam teho ratra vido janaha. Sahasra, 1000. Yuga is an age, a period of time. And we'll go into it. Paryantam, until. Aha is day, daylight. Aha, yat, which. Brahmana, of Brahma. Viduhu, no. Ratrin, night. Yuga sahasrantam, 1000 yugas. They. Aharatra vidaha, those who know this day and night. Jana. So he is saying here that one day of Brahma, we call it one kalpa. It lasts for 1,000 cycles of the 4 ages, of the 4 yugas. 1,000 cycles of the 4 Mahayugas. What are the 4 Mahayugas? We know them. Krita, Treta, Dwapara and Kali. Right? Krita has 4 marks. Treta has 3 marks. Dwapara has 2 marks. Kali has only 1 mark. Right? It is the 4-sided dice which used to be used for playing the sort of game of Chopar, it is used to be called. Right? In Tamil Nadu, it is called Dayakattam. So that game, it's a sort of a cross, and you have to move your coins across and so on and so forth. That is the famous game of dice that was played by Yudhishthir. that those dice, they have 4 sides. Each of these sides, they are called Krita, Treta, Dwapara, Kali. It is also indicator of the nature of dharma. So dharma, things will hold to their essential nature in the Satya Yuga, in the Krita Yuga. They will be decreased by 1/4 in the Treta Yuga, three parts. In the Dwapara Yuga, dharma will become half. When we say dharma, it does not mean that people will do less rituals and so on and so forth. 100% in Kali, people are doing more rituals than they were doing in Krita. Dharma means to be in the essential nature of what you are, to be free, right? And in Kali, only 1/4 of dharma is upheld. Only 1/4 of the people will be following what is their own dharma. And Arjuna has been told, no, it is better to follow one's own dharma and fail rather than try and copy somebody else's dharma and become even worse. So here he says that 1 day of Brahma, 1 kalpa, lasts for 1,000 cycles of the 4 yugas. And his night also extends for the same span of time. So 1 day kalpa, 1 night kalpa. The wise people who know this, they understand the reality of this day and night. This day and night, the actual day and night, right? So Vedic cosmology has a very interesting way of calculating time. The Kali Yuga is supposed to be 4,32,000 years. 4,32,000 human years, right? Some people keep asking that Kali Yuga will end very soon. So even in your sankalpa, when you do, you say Kali Yuge Prathame Pade Jambudvipe Prathame Pade. First quarter of Kali Yuga only has gone. Pada is quarter, right? 1 quarter only has gone. Less than 1 lakh years have been traversed in the Kali Yuga. 3 lakh years more are required for the Kali Yuga to end. So 4,32,000. Dwapara is double of that. Treta is 3 times that. And Satya is 4 times that. So if you now add up all these 4, you will get 43,20,000 years is the 4 yugas together. 43,20,000 years. Multiply this into 1,000 is 1 day of Brahma. Multiply this by 1,000 is 1 day of Brahma. Brahma lives for 36,500 days. This is only 1 day. Then there is 1 night. 1 day and night together makes 1 day and night, Ahoratra of Brahma. This Ahoratra of Brahma, next when he again, and we will see in the next shloka, when Brahma wakes up, the creation happens. When Brahma goes to sleep, the creation dissolves. And this will continue. And Brahma's life is supposed to be 100 years. Brahma's 100 years. Right? So 1 day is 43,20,000 into 1,000. That is 1 day. Into 2 is 1 day and night. Right? That is one unit. 365 days make 1 year. So 365 into 100. So the calculation is 43,20,000 into 2 into 100 into 365. That is the life of one Brahma. What is this indicating? Why is he talking all such esoteric nonsense to us? I mean, just imagine the number. You can't even imagine the size of that number, right? To express it in normal terms, we will have to express it in terms of n to the power n and so on and so forth. Why is he talking this nonsense? I mean, is it nonsense at all? What is it? What is your thought? Why is he telling us this? Yes, please.
I think he's simply telling us, don't wait for that thing to be over. Do it now. Right now is your turn.
Okay. That's one interpretation.
When you view the cosmos, the immensity of the cosmos, it you realize how small you are and yet how significant you are at the same time. That paradox really hits. Likewise, when you view the huge time span of creation, you both realize how small, and sometimes you start realizing that some of your concerns are immaterial. Okay, but at the same time, you also realize the fact that you are even considering this tells you how significant you are at the same time. You have to be something beyond this, even have to consider this. So therefore, it gets you to contemplate a little bit more about who are you that is beyond all of this.
Okay, very nice. Essentially, for me, the first thing that struck me whenever I was studying this is Brahma also counts day and night.
Okay.
Means poor chap is also going to die. And I am going to be worried about my immortality. Stupid me. If Brahma is also subject to time, then why should I go and worship Brahma? Let me go and worship Mahakal himself, who is beyond time. And who alone, excepting me alone, I am the only one who is beyond time. Right? What is the last shloka of Nirvana Shatakam?
Aham nirvikalpo nirakara rupo.
Correct. Aham nirvikalpo. There is no alternative to me. There is no change in me. So that is where that essence of where we are comes out very clearly. And that is why Krishna is talking very clearly. So yes, you are right. It creates that infinitesimal, particle that we are in, that speck of time of Brahma. And I think of myself as so important. Nothing. You are like that Indra who will ultimately become an ant. So it's a nice bang on the head to bring the ego down. That's number one. I mean, that's obviously there, right? It also is something in terms of saying that, oh, time is cyclical, so let me wait for that time. No, you can't wait for that time. It is right now. You are free right now. So all our manan is right. All our manan is right. It starts from that perspective of saying that you have to get to a point where you say, I am sitting down and examining this, internalizing this. So we have seen this, Vedas and so on and so forth. So next, if we go to the last shloka for the day today. Avyaktadyaktavyaktavyaktavyaktavyah sarvaha. Avyaktadyaktavyah sarvaha. Prabhavantyah ragame. Prabhavantyah ragame. Avyaktadyaktavyah sarvaha. Prabhavantyah ragame. Ratyagame praliyante. Ratyagame praliyante. Tatraivavyakta sanyake. Tatraivavyakta sanyake. Ratyagame praliyante. Tatraivavyakta sanyake. Avyaktadyaktavyah sarvaha. Prabhavantyah ragame. Ratyagame praliyante. Tatraivavyakta sanyake. Avyaktat, that which is not manifest, the unmanifested, from the unmanifest. Avyakta, unmanifest. Avyaktat, from the unmanifest. Vyaktayah, the manifested, that which is manifested. Sarvaha. So now, let me look at chapter 1 to 6 and then 7 to 12. In chapter 1 to 6, in chapter 2, he had said, from the unmanifest to the manifest, and again unmanifest, at an individual atmic level. Right? You had seen this? That what you are thinking of yourself right now, it came from the unmanifest, it manifested, it will dissolve into the unmanifest at an individual level. What is now Krishna doing? He's just expanding that to the cosmic level. And he's saying, at the cosmic level, what happens? From the unmanifest, the manifest, all prabhavanti emanates. Right? Prabha word means light. Without light, we cannot see. So similarly here, prabhavanti, it emanates, it becomes manifested. Prabhavanti. Prabhavanti aha agame, at the beginning of the day of Brahma. At the beginning of the day. Ratri agame, ratri agame, at the beginning of the night of Brahma. Praliyante, they dissolve. Tatra, into that. Certainly, eva avyakta sanyake, into that which is the unmanifest. So, Brahma wakes up, the world manifests. Brahma goes to sleep, the world dissolves. In your life, who is Brahma? You are Brahma. When you wake up, the world manifests. When you go to sleep, the world dissolves. For you also, that is the same thing that is happening, which is happening for Brahma. It's only a different time scale. There is no difference. I create this entire world and I dissolve it. When I go to sleep, where is the world? There is no world, right? I mean, unless a mosquito comes and bites you. Otherwise, there is no world.
Yatha pindandam tatha brahmandam.
Correct. That is what the Veda says. That which I am seeing, and which is why our Rishis, instead of trying to study whether the Uranus and Neptune have a colliding orbit or not, they studied insight. And by studying insight, they found that. Right? I have forgotten the name of the temple. It's a beautiful temple. It's a temple for Shiva. The temple has 27 nakshatras drawn on the ceiling. The 27 nakshatras through which the sun, the moon moves, right? Kritika, Rohini, etc., etc. Now, if you go there, they have drawn these nakshatras as flowers, but in various forms, in shapes, right? For example, if you look at the nakshatra called Magha, the nakshatra Magha, they have shown it as 4 flowers positioned like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. If you try to observe Magha with your naked eye, you will see 1 star. You will require a very high-powered telescope to see that Magha is actually a constellation of 4 stars. They have depicted Kritika as 7 dots. 7 sisters of Kritika. In when you observe Kritika, you can see it as a binary star. There is 1 star which is very, very prominent. So sometimes the second star can be seen, sometimes. But typically, again, it would be seen as 1 star, at best, second star. But they've pointed out all the 7. All the 27 have been correctly pointed out. How did they do that? Or did they have very fine telescopes with which they, if there were, there would be some evidence of that. There is no evidence of any telescope, no glass, nothing. Where did they discover all this? Just by going inside. That is the truth that they, because they just connected with this entire universe in such a manner that they could perceive it at its physical level at the minutest detail. That's my belief. I am not saying that this is a proven fact or whatever, and that nobody can prove this. But the only way they could have done this, because if they had telescopes, if they had observatories, somewhere we would have seen some historical site where we could have found any of these. There's nothing. There are descriptions. You were part of, Parthuda, you were part of the discussion when Nilesh Oak was talking about Arundhati and Vasishtha. Arundhati is not visible by the naked eye even today. It requires a normal telescope, at least not a very high power one, but a normal telescope. Sorry, you're on mute.
Yeah, if you look at the seventh, the Great Bear constellation, you see if you look carefully at Vasishtha, you can spot the
very difficult.
the
Yes,
naked eye. Yes, we don't need it.
But very correct. Very, very difficult, and only certain points of time. Right?
Yeah,
only in certain
night
months.
should be clear and no.
No. Also, and only in certain months. And incidentally, those are the only months in which weddings are allowed. Very strange. Only months in which weddings are allowed is the month when Arundhati is visible. Because Arundhati is used as a ritual. Arundhati Darshanam.
Yes.
Right? That is the first time the groom holds the bride around the waist on the right side, takes her to the balcony and points out Arundhati. It's basically a method to create physical proximity. In learning and development, we use Arundhati Nyaya. Arundhati Nyaya Darshanam. How do I show you Arundhati? So I will have to first point to the tree. Can you see the tree? Yes. Can you see that branch which is pointing upward? Yes. Can you go to the tip of that branch? Yes. Beyond that branch, can you see that bright star? Yes. Now just go to the right of it. By making the unknown known through the known is called Arundhati Darshana Nyaya. Right? Here also, similarly, just exactly as we are studying, when you are holding on to the branch, you cannot see Arundhati. You have to let go of the branch. Similarly, you have to let go of the scripture to be able to arrive at that truth. So here he says that the Vyakta and the Avyakta keeps happening. Right? So that's where we will stop today. Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om